He was only 8 years old, barely tall enough to reach a doorknob. He should have been in a classroom, not a police station. But in 2007, deep in the rural heart of Bihar, India, a quiet village made a discovery that would shock the world. An 8-year-old boy accused of killing his sister, his cousin, and another infant. Calm, expressionless. When questioned, he only said, "Yes, I did it." This is the story of Amarjeet Sada, the boy the world would come to call the youngest serial killer alive.
Begusarai district, Bihar. A quiet agricultural village. Small homes, dirt paths, and people who all knew each other by name. Here in 1998, a boy was born to a family of poor laborers. His name, Amarjeet Sada. Neighbors described him as strange, silent, and moody. He rarely played with other children. He would stare for long periods, at animals, at people, at nothing at all. But in villages like these, odd behavior isn't considered danger. It's just different. No one knew what was hiding behind those silent eyes.
In 2006, when Amarjeet was just 7, something terrible happened. His infant cousin, a 9-month-old baby, was found dead in her cradle. Family said it must have been fate or illness, but one relative noticed Amarjeet near the scene, watching, expressionless. When asked what happened, he simply shrugged. The family didn't call police. They buried the child quietly, fearing shame, fearing gossip. Months later, tragedy struck again. This time, it was Amarjeet's own 8-month-old sister. She, too, was found dead, with no explanation. Again, silence. In the village, crimes are whispers, not headlines. The truth remained buried until 2007. It was a warm day in May 2007. A woman named Kusum Devi left her 6-month-old daughter Khushbu sleeping at a local primary school while she went to fetch water. When she returned, her baby was gone. Villagers began to search. They looked in wells, fields, ponds, nothing. Then one of them noticed Amarjeet standing quietly by a tree. Someone asked, "Did you see anything?" He nodded, and with a strange calmness he said, "I took her. I killed her. She's behind the school." The villagers didn't believe him, not at first, but when they followed, they found the small body, exactly where he said it would be. He watched as they screamed, unmoved. Police from Mushahari station arrived soon after. When they brought Amarjeet in, he looked more curious than afraid. He played with the buttons on the officer's shirt. When asked what happened, he repeated, almost cheerfully, "I killed her. I also killed my sister and my cousin." He even showed them the spots where he had done it, near the village pond, behind his house, beside a field. The inspector later said, he spoke as if it was nothing. No guilt, no fear. Doctors who examined him called it a case of extreme psychological detachment. He didn't understand death, only the active control. Experts tried to explain what no one could comprehend. How could a child, barely 8, take multiple lives without emotion? Some psychologists called it conduct disorder, an early stage of psychopathy. Others believed years of neglect, poverty, and emotional isolation had warped his mind. He had grown up in a place where survival was the only rule, and love was a word he'd never truly known. For Amarjeet, killing wasn't evil, it was curiosity, a test of power, a moment of control in a life where he had none. When the news broke, it spread like wildfire across India and beyond. "The world's youngest serial killer," headlines read. But the legal system had never faced something like this before. He was just 8 years old, too young to stand trial as an adult. Under India's Juvenile Justice Act 2000, a child under 12 could not be tried for murder. Instead, they could only be placed in a juvenile home for a maximum of 3 years. So, the boy who killed 3 infants would not go to prison. He would be sent for rehabilitation. Some villagers called it mercy. Others called it madness.
After his confession, Amarjeet was taken to a juvenile observation home in Begusarai. Police said he seemed calm, even happy. There, he would draw, play games, and talk to counselors. One officer recalled, quote, "He never spoke of remorse, only what he did, as if retelling a story," unquote. In 2010, he reportedly completed his stay, the maximum term allowed under law. Then, he disappeared in the anonymity. No one knows where he went. His name sealed under juvenile protection, his identity erased. The boy who once terrified a village simply vanished. Even today, locals in Mushahari speak his name in whispers. Parents warn children not to wander near the old school. They say the earth remembers what happened there. Some believe Amarjeet was cursed. Others say he was a mirror, a reflection of what happens when innocence grows up unseen, unloved, and unheard. Journalists who revisited the village years later found little had changed. Same poverty, same silence, and maybe the same darkness waiting somewhere. If Amarjeet had been born in another country, he might have been studied, analyzed, institutionalized for life. But in India's legal system of 2007, a child's crime was considered curable, not punishable. That's the tragedy of this story. Justice collided with childhood. The victims never grew up, but neither, truly, did he. They called him a monster. But monsters aren't born. They're made, one scar, one silence at a time. No one will ever know what became of Amarjeet Sada. Some say he's still alive, somewhere in India, his name changed, his past buried. But those who remember his story will always ask, what do you do when evil wears the face of a child? This was the story of Amarjeet Sada, the boy who killed his sister, and the silence that still echoes through a village in Bihar. A case closed, a question that never will be.